Morning, everyone. This morning we are going to catch up on something that I introduced to you a couple of days ago. And it was that very strange saying that I said to you made absolutely no sense, but the more we discussed it, the better you'll get to understand it. And I guarantee that if you go to your parents or to your friends who are not in this lesson and you tell them this thing, they will be just as confused as you were. We're looking today at something called unit rate. And with unit rate comes that magical phrase of mine. And I'm going to write it on the screen for you now. Can you remember? You can find the one. You can find the anything. What does this mean? Well, that's what we're going to look at today. If you can find the one, you can find the anything, is all about unit rate. And a unit rate is a type of calculation that we use in ratio and proportion in order to find the value of any given amount of something. So for example, if I had to say to you, 4 cans of Coke cost 10 kwacha, what is the cost of 14 cans of Coke? Now, this is where unit rate comes into play. You can't calculate what 14 cans of cans of Coke cost unless you understand what 1 can of Coke costs. And that's what the unit rate is. Unit meaning 1. What is the rate for one of the items you're discussing? When you can figure that out, then you'll be able to figure out anything. So, for example, if I had to write that question out for you quickly, it would look something like this. 4 cans of Coke cost 10 kwacha. I wish they cost 10 kwacha, but they don't. What would, let's say, even 15 or 20 or 50, doesn't really matter. What would 15 cans cost? Let me just make my pen a bit thicker here. So this is where this magic saying comes in. If you can find the one, you can find the anything. What we need to do here is decide for ourselves what 1 can of Coke costs. And we do this by a simple division sum. We need to figure out, of these 4 cans, they are totaling a cost of 10 kwacha. So if I had to quickly put that into a picture for you guys, it would look something like this. You've got your 4 cans. They're fantastic, I know. I'm a budding artist, don't worry. And Mwila and Wayne, stop laughing just because you can do better. I'd like to see your diagrams in your notebook, since you're laughing so much at mine. Okay, so these 4 are contributing to a cost of 10 kwacha. Together they cost 10 kwacha. That's what we're saying. What we need to figure out is how much does each one on its own cost. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And this, you can see, would be a simple division sum. We would be taking our cost of 10 kwacha and we would be dividing it by 4. Why by 4? Because we have got 4 cans. And each one of those cans is going to contribute to the cost of our final total. So therefore our price here is going to be 10 kwacha divided by 4. In your head you can probably do it. It's going to be 2 kwacha 50 each. And we say per can. And the moment we start using this symbol here, this means per. And just like in percentage, where we said per means out of 100, per means out of. It's part of a division sum. Per That's what that sign means. It means out of or each. So we're basically saying that each can is going to cost 2 kwacha 50. And because we know the 1, we can now find the anything. I can't write to save his life today. So now that we have found the 1, we can find the anything. If 1 can costs 2 kwacha 50, then would it be possible to calculate what 2 cans would cost? 4 cans? Maybe 20 cans? Or even what our question has asked, 15 cans? Yes. The moment you have found the unit rate, the 1, the value of 1, you can now just use multiplication to find the anything. So the unit rate, you divide to find the 1, and then the rate after that, you multiply to find the anything. So if I wanted to find the cost of 2 cans, I would just say 2 kwacha 50 times 2, and my answer would automatically be 10 kwacha. 5 kwacha. If I wanted to find the cost of 20 cans, or just simply say 2 kwacha 50 times 20, and that would give me 50 kwacha. And you could do this now with anything. Give me any number based on this unit rate here. Based on this unit rate, I will be able to find you the price of any number of cans. How did we figure this out? We took our total cost that we were given in our question. We were told that 4 cans costed 10 kwacha. Therefore, if 4 cans cost 10 kwacha, then I just need to divide 10 by 4, get my unit rate for 1 can, and then I'd be able to find the anything. If you can find the 1, you can find the anything. Now, unit rate is something that you really want to know about, because it will help you find deals in the shops when you go buying stuff. You find unit rate in your car. You find unit rate in your bank account. You find unit rate when you're buying Zesco power. You find unit rate when you are calculating your speed, your average speed when you're going somewhere on a journey. Unit rates can be used for so many different things in day-to-day life. Again, it's one of these practical topics that you really want to learn about. So for example, in your car, you've got your speedometer on the dashboard. And when your parents are driving your car, they are going at a specific rate. You might know that rate as 40 kilometers an hour. Sorry, this is miles per hour from America. You might know that rate as 60 kilometers per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, 120 kilometers per hour. Or if you're certain people that will not be mentioned, you might be going about 140 to 160 kilometers per hour. But what does that mean? Why kilometers per hour? Well, it's quite simple. You want to go at a rate that's understandable. An hour is a unit of time, and a kilometer is a unit of measurement. However, when we put the two together, we come up with a unit rate. Time and distance have got nothing to do with each other apart from the fact that it takes a certain amount of time to go somewhere. So what do I mean by it takes a certain amount of time to go somewhere? Well, whenever you're taking a journey, you've got to cover a certain amount of distance. There's some space that you need to go from point A to point B. And between us now, there is a certain amount of space. And for me to travel across that space, it takes a certain amount of time. And when we combine that space and measure it against time, that is when we get a rate of speed. Now, you could measure this in meters per second. In this short distance here, we could probably say meters per second. Watch the timer on your video right now. Look how many seconds it takes me to walk to the back of the classroom. and walk back. Now, that amount of time is my average, maybe just above average walking pace. And because I walk around a lot, I have figured out that my rate of walking is very similar to the rate that the Zambezi River flows at, which is roughly 4 kilometers per hour. Why do we need to know that unit rate? Because if you know how long it takes you to walk a certain distance, you can now start calculating your arrival times. You can start running bus schedules. You can start running airports and flight schedules. You can start planning meetings. You can travel to places and arrive when you're supposed to. It makes life a lot easier. So in your vehicle, if you know that you're traveling at 60 kilometers per hour, after 1 hour, how far should you have gone from where you started? It's 60 kilometers. 60 kilometers per hour means that you are traveling at a certain rate, which means that after every hour of travel, you would have covered a distance of 60 kilometers. If I walk at 4 kilometers per hour, that means after 1 hour of walking, I should have covered 4 kilometers, not 5, not 3, not 7. Because if I covered a different distance, that means I've been walking at a different rate. The beat of your heart is a rate that a lot of people are paying close attention to. If you've got a pedometer or a watch that measures your heart rate, it's telling you all the time, how fast is your heart beating? Your heart beats, but how do we know how fast that is? We're needing to apply a given rate to the tempo of your heart. So let's use beats per minute, because a minute is a reasonable amount of time to measure your heart rate against. You wouldn't say beats per year, because now we're going into the millions. You wouldn't say beats per second, because you probably might not even register 1 beat per second when you're fast asleep. So a beat per minute is a reasonable amount of time. It's very important that you pick your. So your heart beats 60 beats per minute at rest. That means that when you're not doing any activities, you can expect an average of 60 beats per minute from your heart. Suddenly you get a fright. A spider falls into your lap and you freak out. And the next thing you know, your heart rate is up at 140, 200 beats per minute. That means that you've gone from a resting rate to an attack ready rate, a fight or flight rate, and there's a difference in the speed that your heart is beating at. And that's a countable rate. You can measure that rate. So our unit rate is something that can be measured or expressed as a quantity of 1. If you've got 60 beats per minute, what does that mean for how many times your heart is beating per second? What does that mean for how many times your heart is beating in an hour? Are you able to calculate these things once you have a unit rate? The answer is yes, you can calculate anything the moment you have got your unit rate. So we're going to look at a couple of examples now and just work through them together and see how you can find the anything if you find the one. Remember that catchphrase, if you can find the one, you can find the anything. So here's a question for you. Which is better value? You're walking down the aisles in Shoprite and you're trying to buy your pens for the start of term, and you see a special on. You see 2 pens that are costing $1 or 3 pens that are costing $1.20. Now, first of all, you would straight away look at this amount here and you'd say to yourself, well, $1.20, that costs a lot more that's a lot more money, well, 20 cents more than $1. So I'm going to pick these ones here because I'm paying less. The question is, are you really? Really? Are you really paying less? So you've got this conundrum. You need to find the best deal that you can for your pens. You've got a limited amount of money and you don't want to spend more money than you should on extra pens. So you could either look at the number of pens and you can decide, well, here I've got 2 pens, here I've got 3 pens. So 3 pens is obviously better than 2 pens. However, when I look at the price, I see that here I'm going to spend $1 and here I'm going to spend $1.20. So $1.20 is a bit more expensive. I'd rather take these 2 pence for $1. But here's the thing. When you start calculating a unit rate, you can start finding deals all over the place. And now this is something that I do a lot of, and I try to teach Taylor and Eli to look for these things in the shops. You do need to walk around with a calculator though. I guarantee you will find yourself saving money. So you know those bottles of cashew nuts that you can get at Shoprite? You could either get a jar this size for something like 90 kwacha, I think, or a jar this size for almost 200 kwacha. And you say to yourself, well, this one's the cheaper one, I'm going to get this one. But what you don't realize is that they have got different masses on them. And it's the same as this pen question here. You need to know what you are paying for the one. So in this case here, if we want to find out what we're paying for the one, we need to divide this $1 by these 2 pence. Because remember, in this case here, each one of these pens, what amazing pens, together they cost $1. So what does that mean each pen costs? That means each pen is costing 50 cents. Now for the next one, the 3 pens, I've now got 3 pens and they are costing $1.20. These are costing $1.20. What does that mean for the price of each one? If I now divide $1.20 by 3, I should get an answer of 40 cents. 4 times 3, 4, 8, 12. Okay, so 40 times 3 will give me 120 cents or $1.20. These are 40 cents each. Now, if I had to say to you at first, I will sell you pens for 50 cents, or I'll sell you exactly the same pens for 40 cents, which one would you buy? It's pretty obvious you would go for the ones that are cheaper, but I haven't applied any unit rate. I've just said, hey man, I've got a special on pens. I can sell you this pen, it's blue, it writes on whiteboards, and I'll sell it to you for 50 cents. Or I will sell you this pen. It's blue, it writes on whiteboards, and I will sell it to you for 40 cents. Which one are you going to take? Are you going to take this one, or are you going to take this one? They're pretty much exactly the same. One costs less than the other. However, in a package deal like this, sometimes the lower price is the shop manager trying to make a bit more money off you. He can sell 2 pens and make 20 cents profit in total, 10 cents on each pen. You think you're getting a better deal, but actually the manager's getting the better deal. You look at the 3 pens for $1.20 and you think, what? It's 20 cents more. Actually, you are saving because each pen that you buy is 10 cents less than the cheaper ones. This is where unit rate can help you. So back to our little example here. I don't know if you can see this. Imagine that these are cashew nuts. Don't eat these ones though. They'll give you a sore throat. So we've got our cashew nuts here and we've got 100 grams going for 100 kwacha. What would 1 gram cost? You've got 100 grams for 100 kwacha. 1 gram would cost you 1 kwacha, right? Fair enough, quite simple. Now you look at the big container and you see that it is weighing 400 grams and it costs 300 kwacha. The problem is you want to buy the most amount of cashew nuts for the least amount of money. Well, compare them. This one costs 100 kwacha. 100 kwacha is definitely less than 300 kwacha. So which one should you buy? Which one is giving you the best bang for buck? Where are you putting your money and how much is your money working for you? Now here, we've agreed that 1 gram is equal to 1 kwacha. So if we've got 10 grams, we pay 10 kwacha. If we've got 50 grams, we pay 50 kwacha. Here we've got 100 grams and we're paying 100 kwacha. So what would 400 grams cost at this rate? It would cost 400 kwacha. However, it's marked at 300 kwacha, which means you are saving 100 kwacha buying more nuts. Which rate would you go for? If you've got the 300 kwacha in your pocket, it's always better to take this deal than this deal. You will have more nuts at home for this price than you would for this price. And this is another place where I actually showed Mrs. Mann that she could save some money. You've seen these packets of the dishwashing power balls at Shoprite. They've got the packs that have got 13 power balls in it for a certain price, and then they've got the packs that have got 22 or 25 power balls in it for a certain price. And obviously, you look at the price and they're pretty expensive, let's be honest. So you probably only buy the bag of 13 because it costs less. But when you see on the bag that it says it contains 13 power balls, and you divide the price by 13, and then you take the price of the ones with 25 and you divide that by 25, you realize that the bigger bag with more washing power balls in it costs way less per ball. So yes, you might feel like you're paying more out of your pocket, but in the long run, the larger bag might last you 3 months. Whereas for the smaller bag, you might buy a bag towards the end of the month, and you'd buy one every 3 weeks. So by the end of those 4 months, you've bought way more than you would have in the big bag. Unit rate is something that you guys will really start to understand. Start walking around Shoprite with a calculator. See where they've got 2 products that are identical, peanut butter jars, coffee packs, packs of glasses or coffee mugs next to the ones that are sold as singles. Look at the price of the unit and then look at the price of the pack. Do some division work, do some multiplication work, find the one, find the unit rate, and then find the anything. You will be able to start finding yourself deals. Is it better to buy one golf ball online, or is it cheaper to buy a box of 20? Is it cheaper to buy one ruler, or is it better to buy a box of 10 and then come and share them amongst the class and every person pays less? This is where unit rate really can work for you. So I'm going to leave these the rest of these questions for you in the PDF, and I'm going to give you a chance to calculate through them. Remember, the key phrase here is if you can find the one, you can find the anything. You find the one, and to do this, you are going to divide, and then you find the anything. And to do that, you are going to multiply. You multiply your unit rate by however many units you now have. If you've got 20 units, you multiply by 20. If you've got 47, you multiply by 47. Basically, this is what unit rate is all about. You need to understand that in a given price, you've got multiple items set at one amount. What is one of those items going to be? You can calculate that singular item, then it's a matter of multiplying by whatever number you need to find, and you can figure it out from there. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you've picked up all the little Easter eggs I've added in here. I want you to count how many things have happened here that have suddenly happened that have looked like magic. Either I've worn a hat or not, my jacket has come undone, coffee has been drunk or something, and just comment. See how many times you can pick up on the Easter eggs. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I've enjoyed making it for you. Let me know if you need any help. You can just message me on Teams. Let me know what you think about it, and I hope that you enjoy the exercises that are coming up. Have a nice day.